Change does not begin with giant leaps. It begins with small steps repeated daily, with habits so simple that most people dismiss them, yet so powerful that they can reshape your entire life. For too long, you may have believed that transformation requires waiting for the right moment, the perfect conditions, or a sudden breakthrough. But the truth is, transformation is hidden in the ordinary. When you open your eyes in the morning, the very first light you see has the power to set the tone of your entire day. Science has shown us that morning sunlight is not just illumination, it is a command to your body, a divine signal that awakens the deepest rhythms inside of you. Your circadian clock, which governs your energy, your focus, your hormones, and even the very strength of your immune system, is waiting for that first encounter with the light. It is written in the fabric of creation that light separates the darkness and calls forth life. And every time you step outside to receive those rays, you are stepping into an ancient order established before you were born. Too many of us begin the day with screens, with artificial light, with stress flooding into our minds before our bodies have even been given permission to wake fully. This is why exhaustion lingers, why clarity escapes, why discipline seems impossible to hold on to. But when you turn your face toward the rising sun, something extraordinary begins to happen in your brain and body. Specialized cells in your eyes capture that natural light and send powerful signals to the master clock in your brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and in that moment, a cascade of alignment begins. Cortisol, the hormone that wakes you up and prepares you to move, is released at the precise levels your body needs, not too much to overwhelm you, not too little to leave you sluggish, but enough to ignite the engine of your day. Melatonin, the hormone of rest and recovery, begins its countdown, preparing in advance the exact time your body will crave sleep later at night. By exposing yourself to morning light, you are planting the seed of tonight's rest, establishing the pillars of tomorrow's energy. It is more than biology, it is order, it is discipline, it is obedience to the laws written in your very cells. And when you neglect this light, when you refuse to receive it, you break alignment with that design and chaos begins to creep into your energy, your focus, your emotions. Consider how deeply spiritual this is. Light has always symbolized truth, awakening, revelation. To wake with the light is to choose order over disorder, clarity over confusion, strength over weakness. You are not simply taking in photons. You are absorbing a rhythm set by the Creator himself, a rhythm that all of nature obeys. The trees turn their leaves toward it, the flowers bloom because of it, and yet we, who are given the power of choice, so often ignore it. But if you would humble yourself to step into it, if you would rise and receive it, you would find that your mind becomes sharper, your decisions stronger, your spirit steadier. Anxiety weakens its grip because your body is no longer fighting against itself. Depression loosens because your brain's chemistry is stabilizing in harmony with the light. Discipline becomes less of a battle because the very foundation of your day has been built on a solid cornerstone. Think about how small this habit is, and yet how vast the change it creates. 2 minutes of stepping outside, letting that sunlight hit your eyes, no glasses, no barriers, just open exposure is enough to reset your inner clock. 10 minutes is stronger, 20 minutes anchors it even deeper. This is not about intensity, it is about consistency. Every single morning you show up to the light, your brain records it, your body obeys it, your spirit strengthens under it. By the 21st day, you are no longer trying to force the habit, you are drawn to it because your nervous system has rewired itself to seek what is good, what is true, what gives life. And isn't that the essence of transformation? That you begin not by conquering mountains, but by planting seeds, not by making impossible leaps, but by repeating small, faithful steps until the landscape of your life has been altered forever, even in the most chaotic seasons, even when stress surrounds you, even when discipline feels far away, you can always return to the light. It costs nothing but your willingness, yet it pays dividends in focus, clarity, strength, and peace. The morning light is not just a health tip, it is a spiritual practice. It reminds you that you were not made to live in darkness, not made to stumble aimlessly, not made to rise in confusion and collapse in exhaustion. You were made to walk in rhythm with the order of the universe. You were made to thrive under the alignment of body, mind, and spirit. You were made to rise with the light and to let that light carry you through every hour of your day. And when you commit to this habit as the first of the 6, you set the foundation upon which every other habit can stand. Without this, your sleep will struggle, your energy will falter, your focus will scatter. But with it, everything else is strengthened. It is the keystone habit, the first domino in a chain reaction of transformation. Imagine 21 days of consistent light exposure. Imagine the clarity returning to your mornings, the calmness anchoring your mind, the energy flowing into your work, your relationships, your calling. Imagine feeling your body's chemistry aligning as if heaven and earth were testifying that you are in sync with design itself. This is what happens when you begin your day with light, when you stop treating mornings as accidents and begin treating them as sacred opportunities. Breath is the one tool you carry with you every second of your life, the one rhythm that continues whether you are awake or asleep, conscious or unconscious. Yet, when you bring awareness to it, When you decide not to let it run wild, but to take the reins, you unlock a power that most people never touch. From the very first breath given to humanity, breath has always carried divine meaning. It is the bridge between your body and your spirit, the link between your mind and your emotions. To neglect it is to live half asleep, reacting, panicking, stumbling through stress. But to master it is to step into authority over your state, over your mind, over your very life. When stress attacks, your breathing shortens, your chest tightens, your heart races, and your nervous system floods you with signals of danger. But here is the truth: the same way stress hijacks your breath, you can hijack stress back through your breath. Every inhale you take is a signal, and every exhale you release is a command. Slow, deliberate inhales through the nose bring oxygen that fuels your brain and body, but the secret lies in the exhale. A long, controlled exhale tells your nervous system, stand down, you are safe, you can return to balance. This is not imagination. It is the wiring of your physiology. Your diaphragm, the great muscle beneath your lungs, is not just a tool for survival. It is a lever into your emotional state. When you engage it, when you breathe deeply and slowly, you pull on the strings that calm your heart, lower your stress hormones, and refocus your attention. What others call anxiety becomes fuel. What others call panic becomes clarity. And what others call weakness becomes resilience, because you have learned to regulate from within. Think about the power of this. In less than 60 seconds, by shifting your breathing, you can reset your entire state. A rhythm of 2 short inhales followed by 1 long exhale can release tension from your body like water draining from a vessel. A simple box pattern: inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Can center your mind like an anchor dropped in stormy seas. None of this requires money, equipment, or even time, only awareness and practice. And with 21 days of deliberate breathing practice, just a few minutes morning and evening, you begin to rewire the circuits of your nervous system. You train your body not to be a slave to fear, not to be controlled by anger, not to collapse under pressure, but to stand, to focus, to endure. Breath is the original prayer, the quiet conversation between your spirit and your body. Every inhale receives life, every exhale releases what does not belong. To breathe with awareness is to remind yourself that you are not at the mercy of chaos, you are not at the mercy of circumstances, you are not at the mercy of what others bring into your life. You have been given a tool to command your inner world. When you wake and breathe deeply before the noise of the world invades, you begin the day in control. When you pause in the middle of conflict, breathe and respond instead of react, you reclaim your authority. When you end the night with slow, long exhales, you invite peace to enter and guard your rest. This is not weakness. This is not passivity. This is warfare on the battlefield of the mind. And your weapon is the breath. Even scripture and tradition echo the truth that breath carries life and power. It is breath that was given to form humanity, breath that symbolizes spirit, breath that revives and restores. When you learn to control it, you are not only aligning with science, you are aligning with design. You are training your nervous system to obey, to follow order instead of disorder, to respond with calm instead of collapse. Breathwork becomes a daily discipline, but it is also a sacred act, a declaration that you will not be ruled by fear, that you will not surrender to stress, that you will walk in authority over the state of your mind and body. Imagine the transformation after 21 days of this practice. The moments that once triggered panic will now trigger calm. The situations that once clouded your focus will now sharpen it. The fatigue that once dragged you into distraction will be replaced with waves of clarity. It is not magic, it is training, and your body responds faster than you realize. Every breath becomes a brick laid in the foundation of resilience. Every controlled inhale and exhale becomes evidence that you are no longer a prisoner to stress, but a master of your state. This is what happens when you honor the gift of breath, when you train it, when you wield it with discipline and reverence. Movement is not optional. It is not something extra you add to life if you have time. It is the language through which your body expresses vitality, strength, and purpose. From the very beginning, human beings were created to move, to walk, to work, to labor, to dance, to lift, to climb. Sedentary living is not just laziness, it is rebellion against the very design written into your muscles, your bones, your heart, your blood. When you deny your body movement, you invite weakness, disease, and decay to creep in, not only physically but mentally and spiritually. When you choose daily movement, even small, consistent actions, you awaken the systems within you that sharpen your focus, energize your body, and align your mind with discipline and power. You were not designed for stillness that decays you. You were designed for movement that strengthens you. Every step you take increases circulation, sending fresh oxygen to your brain and fueling clarity. Every push, every pull, every lift signals to your muscles that they are alive, that they must adapt, that they must grow stronger. Your bones respond by becoming denser. Your heart responds by pumping with greater efficiency. Your hormones align to feed you energy rather than steal it from you. But it is not just biology. It is a principle of creation that which which is exercise grows, that which is neglected weakens. Movement is not only exercise for the body, it is a declaration of discipline to the soul. When you choose to move daily, even when you do not feel like it, you are choosing mastery over apathy, strength over weakness, order over disorder. The mistake most people make is thinking movement requires hours in a gym, complex equipment, or overwhelming routines. The truth is that small, consistent movement carries extraordinary power. A brisk 20-minute walk can reset your mind more effectively than hours of scrolling. 10 minutes of deliberate stretching can restore your posture and free your energy. A few sets of bodyweight exercises, push-ups, squats, planks, can awaken muscles that have grown lazy and send a surge of vitality through your entire system. Over 21 days, these small deposits of movement compound into massive transformation. Your brain begins to associate movement with clarity, your body begins to crave it as a source of strength, and your spirit begins to align with the discipline it represents. Daily movement is also warfare against stagnation in the mind. The body and brain are inseparably connected. When your body is active, your brain releases endorphins, those natural chemicals that elevate mood, reduce anxiety, and sharpen focus. Movement literally builds resilience in your nervous system, training it to handle stress without collapsing. The very act of moving forward physically teaches your mind to move forward emotionally and spiritually. That is why when you are stuck in fear or confusion, rising up and moving, walking, stretching, training can break the chains of paralysis. Movement is more than health. It is liberation, a daily reminder that you are not meant to sit in bondage, but to rise and walk in freedom. Think about how deeply spiritual this is. Every time you move, you mirror the truth that life itself is motion, that growth is progression, that strength comes through resistance. The weights you lift are not obstacles, they are teachers. The burn in your muscles is not punishment, it is proof of adaptation. The sweat that pours is not waste, it is the overflow of effort, the cleansing of the body through labor. Movement is not just physical training, it is worship through discipline, honoring the design of your creator by using what was given to you. When you move, you give thanks for the body that carries you, for the strength that sustains you, for the lungs that breathe and the heart that beats 21 days of consistent movement will not only transform your body, it will rewire your mind. Discipline will no longer feel like a burden, but like a natural rhythm. Energy will no longer feel scarce, but abundant. Confidence will no longer feel foreign, but familiar. The victories you win in short, daily movement will spill over into victories in your work, your relationships, your calling. You will begin to see yourself not as weak or stagnant, as strong, capable, resilient. This is not vanity. This is stewardship. Caring for the body, sharpening the mind, strengthening the spirit. Each day you choose to move, you declare war on apathy, you silence the lies of weakness. You step into the identity of strength that was written into you from the beginning. Imagine waking each morning and moving before excuses find you. Imagine carrying yourself through the day with energy that others notice but cannot explain. Imagine facing challenges and knowing your body and mind have already been trained to endure resistance and come out stronger. This is the gift of daily movement. It does not ask for perfection, it asks for consistency. It does not demand hours, it demands faithfulness. And when you give it that, even in the smallest doses, it multiplies its reward. Movement becomes not only habit but identity. You no longer wonder if you can endure. You know you can, because every day you have proven it to yourself through action. Sleep is not weakness. It is not wasted time. It is the foundation upon which your strength, your focus, and your resilience are built. The world may glorify the hustle that burns you out, the grind that robs you of rest, but science and scripture both declare that true power flows from restoration. Sleep is not a suggestion, it is a command written into the design of your body. When you resist it, you resist order itself, and the cost is heavy. Your mind becomes clouded, your emotions become unstable, your body breaks down, your discipline collapses. But when you honor sleep, when you set it as sacred, when you guard it with discipline and structure, you awaken the full potential that was placed inside of you. The rhythm of your sleep is not random. It is a cycle that your creator designed with precision. Your body is built to rise with the light and rest with the darkness, to move in harmony with the circadian rhythm set by creation itself. When you align with that rhythm, every system in your body strengthens. Your brain clears away toxins, storing the lessons of the day and preparing new space for tomorrow's growth. Your muscles repair, your hormones balance, your immune system fortifies. While you lie in stillness, armies of restoration work within you, renewing your strength for the battles ahead. Sleep is not escape. It is preparation. It is the refueling of the warrior, the sharpening of the mind, the healing of the body, the calming of the spirit. But here is the secret. It is not only about how long you sleep, it is about how consistently you sleep. Going to bed at the same time, rising at the same time, aligning your nights with discipline, rewires your body into a rhythm of power. This is why screens and chaos before bed are so destructive. They trick your brain into thinking it is still day. They flood you with stress. They rob you of the signals that tell your body it is time to rest. But when you create a sacred routine, dimming the lights, shutting down distractions, practicing breath, reflecting in prayer, or journaling, you are telling your body, It is time to enter the temple of rest, and your body obeys. Cortisol drops, melatonin rises, and your nervous system prepares you for deep, restorative sleep. This is not luxury, this is discipline. This is training your body to receive what it was designed to need. Consider how powerful this is. 1 night of disciplined sleep clears the fog from your mind. 3 nights strengthen your memory and focus. A week restores your energy, balances your emotions, and increases your resilience. And by 21 days, a structured sleep routine has rewired your very identity. You no longer struggle to wake up, you rise with clarity. You no longer collapse under stress, you face it with calm. You no longer drag yourself through the day, you walk with energy and confidence. Sleep is not weakness. It is warfare against exhaustion, confusion, and despair. It is not quitting, it is preparing. The warrior who rests fights longer, thinks sharper, endures greater. The one who neglects sleep falls apart no matter how hard they grind. And beyond the biology, there is something deeply spiritual about sleep. It is surrender. Each night when you close your eyes, you release control. You trust that restoration will come. You lay down the burdens of the day and allow renewal to work beyond your effort. It is a reminder that you're not sustained by your own striving alone, but by rhythms set before you were born. To treat sleep as sacred is to acknowledge that rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is to confess that the body cannot run endlessly without renewal, that the mind cannot stay sharp without peace, that the spirit cannot endure without restoration. To rest is not to give up, it is to rise again stronger, so guard your sleep as you would guard your purpose. Remove the distractions that rob you. Silence the noise that invades you. Discipline yourself to create an environment where rest is deep and consistent. Do not let the world convince you that rest is for the lazy. Rest is for the strong, because only the strong have the discipline to protect it. Weakness stays up in chaos, scrolling, wasting, burning out. Strength shuts down, recovers, restores, and rises again with clarity. 21 days of structured sleep will not only change your energy, it will transform your focus, your discipline, your emotional balance, and your spiritual strength. The way you rest tonight determines the way you rise tomorrow. The way you treat your evenings determines the way you carry your mornings. Sleep is not a side note in transformation. It is the backbone of it. When you step into the cold or sit within the heat, you are doing more than testing your body. You are training your spirit, sharpening your mind, and declaring that you will not be ruled by comfort. We live in a world obsessed with ease, addicted to softness, enslaved to comfort. But comfort does not build strength. It does not forge resilience. It does not prepare you for the battles of life. Only stress, controlled and deliberate, awakens the warrior within you. Cold exposure shocks your system, forcing your breath to deepen, your focus to sharpen, your nervous system to adapt under pressure. Heat challenges your endurance, pushes your limits, and teaches you to stay present when every cell screams for relief. These are not random wellness practices. They are ancient disciplines disguised as modern science, a way of aligning your body and spirit with resilience. When you enter the cold, your body releases adrenaline, your heart rate spikes, and your mind feels the urge to panic. But in that very moment, you hold the key, your breath. If you choose to breathe calmly, if you choose to control your response instead of giving in, your nervous system learns something priceless. It learns that you are not a prisoner of stress, you are the master of it. In a matter of minutes, dopamine levels rise, energy floods your system, inflammation lowers, and your resilience strengthens. That freezing water becomes a teacher, showing you that discomfort is not the end, it is the path. That pain is not punishment, it is training. That stress is not your enemy, it is your forge. The same is true with heat. Whether in a sauna or under deliberate exposure, the heat pushes your endurance to the edge. Your heart beats faster, your body drenches in sweat, your mind whispers that you cannot last. But when you hold steady, when you refuse to run from the fire, you prove to yourself that you can withstand more than you thought possible. Growth does not come from avoiding stress, but from mastering it. This is the essence of resilience, not escaping the storm, but learning to stand unshaken in the middle of it. When you step into deliberate cold or heat, you are no longer training your muscles alone. You are training your mind, your nervous system, your discipline, your faith. There is something profoundly spiritual about this. Fire has always symbolized purification. Cold has always represented testing, the stripping away of weakness. To willingly step into them is to declare, I will not be ruled by comfort, I will be forged by challenge. It is to humble yourself under conditions you cannot control and yet choose to respond with calm, with strength, with presence. It is to surrender excuses and embrace the truth that your growth will never come from what is easy, but only from what stretches you beyond yourself. This is why warriors, prophets, and leaders of old endured seasons of testing, to be purified, to be strengthened, to be proven. You too must choose to embrace discomfort as your training ground. The science confirms what the spirit already knows. Short, controlled exposures to cold increase your resilience to stress, improve circulation, elevate mood, and sharpen focus. Heat exposure triggers the release of growth hormone, supports recovery, improves endurance, and cleanses the body. But beyond the numbers and studies, the deeper truth remains. These practices train you not to flee from difficulty, but to endure it, not to bow to fear, but to face it, not to be ruled by weakness, but to stand in strength. Each deliberate encounter with cold or heat is a rehearsal for life's challenges. When conflict comes, when fear rises, when pressure mounts, you will not crumble because you have trained your nervous system to remain calm under fire. And over 21 days, this practice becomes a mirror for your transformation. At first, the cold feels unbearable, the heat feels suffocating, the urge to quit feels overwhelming. But as you persist, your body adapts, your mind strengthens, your spirit grows bold. What once felt impossible becomes natural. What once terrified you becomes routine. And suddenly you carry this resilience into every part of your life. The meeting that once triggered panic now feels manageable. The stress that once broke you now sharpens you. The challenges that once drained you now fuel you. You realize that you no longer fear discomfort. You embrace it because discomfort has become your training ground and your ally. This is why deliberate cold or heat exposure is not just about health, it is about identity. It teaches you who you are under pressure. It reveals whether you flee or whether you stand. It gives you the confidence to face life's storms with calm authority, knowing you have already rehearsed the response in conditions far harsher than most will ever choose to face. To practice this discipline is to tell your body, you will obey, to tell your mind, you will not run, to tell your spirit, you were built for fire, you were built for challenge, you were built to endure. The thoughts that run through your mind each day are not harmless whispers, they are seeds. Some grow into courage, faith, discipline, and vision. Others grow into fear, doubt, anger, and despair. If you never examine them, if you never bring them into the light, then you allow weeds to overtake the garden of your mind. This is why journaling and reflection are not optional practices. They are weapons of clarity and tools of transformation. Writing down your thoughts is more than an exercise. It is warfare against confusion. It is capturing the storm that rages inside and giving it form on paper so you can see it, test it, and decide if it belongs to you or if it must be cast out. Reflection is not weakness. It is power because it separates what is true from what is false, what builds you from what destroys you. When you take a pen and begin to write, you are slowing down the racing of your mind. You are forcing vague emotions into words, shaping them into something you can examine. That very act quiets the noise and reveals patterns you could not see before. Science shows us that journaling reduces anxiety, improves memory, sharpens focus, and rewires the brain toward resilience. But beyond the science, there is something deeply spiritual about it. Writing is confession, reflection is prayer, the act of pouring out what is hidden so it can be judged, refined, or strengthened. What remains inside grows heavier and darker. But what is released onto paper loses its power to control you. This is why so many never heal. They carry everything inside, never giving their spirit a chance to release what weighs it down. Reflection also allows you to rewire thought patterns. Every time you repeat a thought, whether good or bad, you strengthen the neural pathway that carries it. Fear repeated becomes fear ingrained. Doubt rehearsed becomes doubt cemented. But gratitude written, truth declared, faith confessed, these become highways of strength in your mind. When you choose to write daily what you are thankful for, what you are striving toward, what victories you have achieved, your brain begins to adapt, your emotions begin to follow, and your identity begins to shift. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural because you have trained your mind to dwell not on failure but on progress, not on despair but on hope. Think about how powerful 21 days of journaling can be. Each day, you capture thoughts that would otherwise pass unnoticed. Each day you sift them, testing them, strengthening the ones that align with truth and discarding the ones that weaken you. Over time, your journal becomes a record of transformation. You look back and see the fears that once ruled you and realize they no longer hold the same power. You see prayers answered, progress made, victories won. You see the fingerprints of growth written across the pages. This is not just reflection. This is testimony, evidence of the discipline and faith that carried you through. And do not mistake journaling for self-centeredness. It is not about obsessing over yourself. It is about aligning yourself with order. It is about humbling yourself enough to admit your weaknesses, bold enough to declare your strengths, and disciplined enough to return daily to the practice. Reflection without writing fades quickly. But words on a page endure. They stare back at you, reminding you of commitments made, lessons learned, and truths discovered. They hold you accountable when excuses tempt you. They encourage you when doubt whispers. They become a mirror of who you were, who you are, and who you are becoming. There is also something deeply spiritual about taking time each day to reflect before God, before truth, before the weight of eternity, to stop in silence, to write, to confess, to give thanks, to ask, to record. This is not just journaling, it is surrender. It is declaring that your mind will not be filled only with the noise of the world, but with truth, discipline, and purpose. It is laying down the chaos of the day and choosing to reorder it. In a world of endless distraction, this simple act becomes radical. To pause, to write, to reflect. It is rebellion against the pull of mindless living and a declaration that your life will be intentional, that your mind will be guarded, that your spirit will be anchored. Imagine what happens when you give yourself 21 days of this discipline. Your journal becomes a battlefield log, a map of your victories and your struggles. Your reflection becomes a daily sharpening of your sword, reminding you of who you are and who you are becoming. The lies that once ruled your mind are exposed and silenced. The truths that once felt distant are repeated until they become your identity. You begin to notice blessings you overlooked, victories you dismissed, growth you ignored. Gratitude rises, discipline strengthens, and clarity floods your mind. This is not magic. It is the fruit of consistency, the reward of faithfulness, the power of daily choosing to write, to reflect, to rewire each word you put on the page as a seed. Some seeds you bury to never return, others you water so they grow into trees of strength, forests of faith, gardens of resilience. Journaling is not about writing perfectly, it is about writing faithfully. Reflection is not about wasting time, it is about redeeming it. Each time you sit with pen in hand, each time you open your heart on paper, you are aligning your mind with truth and your spirit with purpose. You are not just recording life, you are rewriting it. You are not just reflecting on thoughts, you are transforming them. And in that discipline lies the power to change not only your mind, but your destiny.